My father's old cylinder type mower had been residing under our house for about 30 years, just gathering dust and cobwebs. I thought it might be fun to dig it out and see if it could be made operational again. The mower is a Victa Imperial model with a 20-inch cut. These were made in Australia between 1966 and 1978. With the help of my brother-in-law, we muscled it onto some paved ground where we could push it around to our garage. Originally powered by a 4-stroke Kirby engine, the Victa 125cc 2-stroke was used from 1972 on. It must have been about this time that my father would have purchased a mower to use on his manicured front lawn. The first thing we checked was to make sure that there was no old stale fuel in the tank. It was well and truly dry. The first little problem we encountered was that the throttle was jammed. It appeared the problem was with the cable. After some futile attempts to free up the cable, we decided to remove it and tackle it off the mower. With it gently supported in the vise, we soon got it moving again. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah. While that was soaking in lubricant, we removed and checked the spark plug. No problem. That could do with a clean. After a wash in petrol and a bit of wire brushing, it came up fine. It's nicely cleaned up, the gap looks fine. Pop it back in. Next, we refitted the cable. Adjustments were made at the carburetor end of the cable so that the idle position corresponded with the idle mark on the throttle handle. A 25:1 fuel 2-stroke oil mixture was originally recommended for this mower. With the fuel tap in the on position, you need to prime the carburetor by depressing the plunger until some fuel squirts out. That is full. Then, with the throttle set in the start position, it should fire up. But it didn't. So we thought we might check that it had spark. With a gap between the spark plug lead and the cylinder head, we could see plenty of spark. The same applied to the spark plug. No problem there. While the spark plug was out, we poured a small amount of 2-stroke oil into the cylinder. We hoped this might help seal around the rings and temporarily give a better compression. With the air filter removed, we also squirted some Aerostart down the air intake while cranking. Now we were getting somewhere. With a few attempts, it started more easily. While running it up, we realised that the blades weren't turning and that the centrifugal clutch was slipping and getting hot. A build-up of rust on the blades had caused them to seize up. 2 adjusting bolts on either side move the bottom fixed blade, adjusting the clearance with the rotating blades. The adjustments were backed off just enough to allow the blades to be turned by hand. Well, that got the blade spinning. With the chain cover off, we noticed that the blade drive chain was flopping around. The other chain that drives the roller via the clutch was okay, as it has a self-adjuster. With the loose chain, we just ease the manual tensioner down onto the chain to take up the slack. Now that we had knocked some of the rust off the blades, we adjusted them a bit closer. Every time we started it, it seemed to run a bit better. After cleaning out the chain housing and applying a little oil to the chains, we refitted the cover. We had checked the air filter and it was okay, but I also wanted to check the exhaust port and muffler in case they were blocked with carbon. After a general clean-up, we tackled the muffler. All it's held on by are two clips and a bolt for support. The two clips just slip off with a screwdriver. A bit of a wiggle and the muffler was off. After loosening the carbon with a scraper, we gave it a short burst to blow any rubbish out. After giving the muffler a good swill around in some Kero, I gave it a flash out with the hose. Once it had dried out, we popped the muffler back. The first one is easy. The second one needed a little persuasion.
There it is.
And it's on. Finally, tightening up the mounting bolt.
Not too tight.
It was now time for a test drive. Gently releasing the hand-operated clutch, and we're off. After an adjustment of the blades, it now does a perfect job and starts first go every time. Now, after almost 50 years since my father purchased it, it will be used by one of his grandsons. It turned out to be a fun and worthwhile project, and it's one less thing being stored under the house.